on, let's go, boy!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another movie review from 3BG. This time we're talking about the gangster murder mystery, The Outfit.
I'm sorry, CJ. I could not let that breeze past. yeah. He said, welcome to a movie.
Did I really botch that up? I think I did.
Yes,
Oh, okay, I'm
did.
keeping it in. They know the vibes. They know the vibes here at 3BG.
Yo, check out One Take Drake over here.
They know the vibes. They get it. Now, this is us talking about these the gangster movie. Well, it's a gangster thriller mystery called The Outfit.
You know what? No. Let's call it what it is. This is a mob whodunit movie.
Yeah, it's a very mob whodunit movie called The Outfit. I will be thoroughly honest with you. I didn't see the trailer. You saw the trailer. On first visual look of the movie, right? I'm thinking it's one of those Oscar bait movies, like The Outfit, he's a tailor, and it'd be some stupid shit, right? Then when I saw the plot point to it, I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Okay. And then like I guess the lady at the screener was like, oh no, it's a whodunit. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then as you're watching the movie proper, two things comes out, like really stands out. One, this whole movie takes place in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
You get some outside shots of where it takes place at, but it's very quick.
Very little outside shots. Matter of fact, since you asked me like what was my thought process, my thought process after seeing the trailer was instant. This is a whodunit movie. I'm that's why when we got tagged, hey, do you guys want to see a screener for this? As soon as I saw the trailer, that made me respond. I said, yes, I want to see this.
Okay.
So no, Oscar bait definitely wasn't even nowhere near my thought process.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, it was Oscar bait for me. I knew you saw the trailer, so you already knew what it was. It was just for me. I'm thinking it was one of those classical Oscar bait movies that's gonna be more drama until you told me. He's like, oh no, it's not what you think it is. I was like, all right.
Yeah, it really isn't. In fact, when you watch it, just from watching the trailer, I don't even see how anyone could think this is an Oscar. This would be an Oscar bait movie. It's really not. When you after you see the trailer, I knew for a fact from watching, I was like, huh, everything in this trailer was all from inside the tailor shop.
Yeah, it takes place all in the tailor shop, and usually in instances like that, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it takes me out of it because I'm used to a movie where they're in different settings. I know Fences is a different category because they were also in a set area, because that's based off a stage play. So with this movie in particular, it taking place in this tailor shop, you would think on the surface you wouldn't get a good idea of what it would be for the because it's set in Chicago, but you would never know it's set in Chicago.
Yeah,
right. So as I'm watching it, I was like, okay. And I think what makes it easy, what makes it so good, is that Mark Rylance is playing the tailor Leonard, this old man, and he does a good job playing a very unassuming old man that knows stuff. Minds his business.
I was gonna say, as you see in the trailer, he knows something goes down, but he chooses to pay no attention to it.
Yeah, he plays a English tailor named Leonard, who he was a tailor in London, and he left for personal reasons, which the movie goes into through different small flashbacks that he has when he's like taking a nap or whatever, and he's thinking back on it happens, has him come to Chicago where he opens his own tailor shop, which is, I'm not gonna say it's a front, but it's used by the local gangsters to do their business through. Yeah, essentially. And there is something that goes down where they feel that there's a rat in their midst, and Leonard gets roped into it alongside his secretary Mabel, and thus starts this big whodunit of who's the rat and what does Leonard know and what does Mabel know, and what's going to happen, so I would say they do a good job of, again, even though it takes place in just this store, they do a good job of setting the tone of the atmosphere of the whole film, because clearly the weather outside, it's a little bit rough that night.
It's in the middle of December.
Yeah, middle of winter, clearly. The wind is blowing. They do a good job of really emphasizing that, whether it's the people talking about it or, they walk outside and you hear it kind of blowing outside. The characters, you get the sense of tension that happens when shit goes down, basically, and you're pretty much instantly kind of engaged. And for a hour 40-minute movie, that's enough time to really get in and out.
Yeah, which is another reason why this is not an Oscar bait movie. Most Oscar bait movies always go for the minimum of over 2 hours.
Can you imagine this being 2 hours and 15 minutes? I'll be mad.
Because
at that point, it's like, come on, man. Like, really?
No, especially after, you and I have seen some movies where we got to the point where we're midway into the movie and I already figured it out. And I'm leaning over to you going, CJ, such and such and such and such. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, okay, give us some time. Watch it. And then what happens? Boom, we get to the climax. And you're like, son of a bitch, how do you know? I'm like, dude, this was so easy to figure out. But no, this one definitely keeps you on your toes as to, like, if you're, especially when you're watching, you're trying to figure out what's going on or who did what. There's so many things that get thrown in so many different directions. And by the time you see the movie, like at the end, you're gonna be like, oh, damn. Really?
Yeah, and I mean, because the family in particular, Dylan O'Brien plays Richie, and his father is Simon Beale plays Roy. And again, the movie gives you these little details, like the family dynamic of this mob family. Like, how do they play into the overarching of this time? Because it takes place in, like, was it the 1920s, 30s,
50s, I think.
The 50s, and just how much of the whole mobster influence has on not just Chicago but the United States at this time.
Yep.
And they do a good job of showing how influential this family is and the nature of them having a rat in this family. And Richie being the prototypical son who wants to prove everything to his dad. Because his dad, I won't say his dad doesn't trust him, but his dad doesn't really trust him. Really doesn't.
Well, I mean, we've seen this in typical mob movies. You always get the underdog son of the mob, and he's always got way too much to prove. And of course, no one ever takes him seriously because you're the boss's, like, you're the boss's kid.
I mean, his boy Francis ain't taking him seriously.
Yeah, it's like the whole, like, all the underbosses, they will look at the Don and be like, yeah, that's the Don. Or what about his son? Whatever. That's the Don.
Yeah. Fuck him. No. We're going to this guy.
I don't even think they even say that. They just say, yo, that's the Don. Oh, his kid's right there.
That's cool.
No. Not even that, dude. It's much more disrespectful. It would just simply be, oh, damn, that's the Don. All right. Oh, damn, there's his kid. That's the Don, right?
Yeah. And that does play a part in, and I think that's what makes the whodunit aspect of this film so great, is because, like, that little small, like, he's trying to prove himself plays into the whodunit and who's the rat. And there is a lot of swerves in this movie, and it's very smart swerves, because you will go watch this movie and you'll be like, all right, I already know how this is going to play out. And then the movie throws a swerve at you. And you're like, all right, movie, you got me. Mm-hmm. Then the movie's like, oh, you think that's the only swerve you're going to get? We're going to give you another one. It's like, okay, how many more did you got? And it's like,
we like that swerve so much, we're going to give it to you again.
they give you multiple upon multiple swerves to right to the credits, where you're like, okay, I did not see this coming. Now that could play into a part if people want to rewatch this again, but I think there is a lot of rewatchability, because then you start asking yourself, like, where did this swerve come in?
Yep.
How did I not catch it this time? And I think that's probably what will definitely appeal to me to actually buy this movie again, to just watch it, because
Oh yeah, this is definitely a 4K steelbook pickup.
Definitely. It definitely is a film, like, because we talk cinematography, they do a good job of really kind of framing everything. Again, it takes place in a store, but you don't get tired of it.
It's one, like, the way that they shot a lot of the scenes. Like, one scene in particular would be how English, they refer to him as English. I'll throw that out there. It's something you can look forward to in this movie. Mm-hmm. They refer to him as English. When you see his everyday routine and how he narrates it, I look at this and I go, you know what? There are so many independent filmmakers or even YouTubers who do videos like this. When you don't have a whole lot to work with and you're inside one room. In fact, I've actually done something like this. I was a part of a challenge where we had to film everything in one room. We couldn't leave the room. And the way that they shot it, just in one shot in particular, I looked at this and I said, this, like, many YouTubers do this. But, we see how it's done on the Hollywood level. And I said, yeah, a lot of YouTubers were inspired by stuff like this.
I mean, them showing the process of him
making
the suit, it's very detail oriented on the process of his mindset of his making the suits and how passionate he is for what he did. And like I said, when the movie later on tells you the reason how he got to that point of doing what he does, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, we're talking deep down to, like, he cuts the fabric, measuring himself, measuring other people, how he goes about putting just all those things is, to the point to even I was like, man, I want a suit right now. Like,
I know, right? I'm like, yo, can I get a 3-piece?
I get a 3-piece suit right now. Like the music is actually really good. It comes in at certain moments, like just that the typical, I call it the typical whodunit type music, where it's like that build up, the slow build up to something happening, and it's like, all right, cool, I can dig it. Like I said, all the acting is great. It's not a huge cast. It's about, I would say, tops.
Most movies like this, you don't even need a giant cast. Like,
there's
at the very most
total. There's 8 people total that get, I would say,
at the very most, it's usually less than 12 people.
Yeah. And in this instance, it's like 8 people total that actually has speaking roles in this film, prominent speaking roles, which is enough for this. And that's why I thought, is this based off a play? Because it felt like, because it takes place in the shop and you don't get those outside shots like that, I was like, is this like just strictly a play? But it's not based off a play. It's just, that's just the way they want to frame it.
It was just a damn good movie that was put together.
Which I'm like, so did y'all film this during COVID or something? It's like,
right? There's gonna be a couple of projects that are coming out within the coming years that we're gonna look at this and go, y'all shot this during lockdown, didn't you?
Well, they did film this in England. They did film this in London, England, so that makes perfect sense. Because it does feel like they filmed it on a soundstage and did some outside frame shots, but they did film this in England, so that makes sense. I mean, it feels like you can do this. It's the type of film I think that you can do this anywhere and it still works.
Yeah, like, you'd be surprised how many films that all take place in one spot. All you gotta do is just pick a spot and just center everything around it. Because when you do stuff like that, it cuts out so much extra work that you would have to do if you were doing additional scenes in other locations. Yeah, but to do an entire movie in one spot, you have so much playing room in a confined space.
Yeah, like, one of the things, and this is not spoiling it, but like, one of the things that I appreciate the movie doing is, like, at one point, one of the characters is like, no, we're going to go out to this deal, but they never show you the deal.
Exactly. And I really hope that they didn't do it. I said, you know what, please do not break the flow of the movie right now. Keep everything,
like, cut to the deal.
Like, don't even cut to it. Like, in fact, it would actually impact the movie more if we just hear about it.
Yeah.
Just talk about stuff that we never see in this movie. And this movie executed that perfectly.
Yeah. And I think that was my thing. Because again, as much as I like seeing the thing instead of being told, sometimes not seeing it and just like, I think the aftermath of an event matters way more than actually seeing it. So when you see the character like, no, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do this deal, when you see the aftermath of like what happens to them, it's like, oh wow, that sucks. Because now you're like, I don't want to see it. I just want to know like what led to this happening.
So if I were to describe this movie in a nutshell of, what, like how, like what would you how would you describe this? This movie is like, okay, this movie is like a 1950s Reservoir Dogs. Think of Reservoir Dogs in the 1950s, set in one location. I wouldn't even say Hateful Eight, even though that one was more or less in one location, but more Reservoir Dogs. It was it's shot in one location. You hear about the exploits of other characters, and when you see them, you're thinking that you're going to see the stuff that they've done, but they don't show any of it. Everything is off of hearsay. And of course, it's like one big mystery: who did what? And when you finally get to the meat of it, that's when they show it, and that's the big payoff. It just reminded me a lot of Reservoir Dogs in a very good way, because
Reservoir Dogs, the stuff that they showed you, it was like certain things like was it Mr. Pink when he was running away from the cops after the whole heist?
Yeah.
Like we saw parts of what led to him getting back to the warehouse, but we didn't see the full thing. It was just enough to kind of give you an idea of how hectic that whole shit was.
Yeah. And in fact, we never see just like in that movie, same thing with this movie, we never see the actual heist. We just all we hear is the aftermath, and we see the aftermath of everybody coming together, but they never show the actual heist.
Lord knows that horrible ass video game tried to
I forgot about the game.
Yeah, they did a Reservoir Dogs video game that tried to like show the whole heist, and I'm like, but that doesn't make it interesting. It's just more it's just more so the actions, like seeing Mr. Pink literally run down the street with a fucking bag and shoot somebody to get the fuck out of Dodge. It's like that's way more interesting than the actual heist itself,
because stuff like this, it's best to leave it to the audience's imagination of how everything went down.
And that's what this movie does. It makes the audience like really envision what happened on these events that we don't see, that the characters are telling us about.
Yep.
We don't know about who's the snitch. So now you're thinking in your head, like, who's the snitch? Is it the son? Is it the father? Is it his boy? Who? We don't know.
Yep.
And even the mystery with Leonard, I think was great because they didn't tell you that. It was just like, oh, he's just this unassuming person. And then as the movie goes on, it's like, there's more to this. Like,
it's like, I could tell there's something like there's something going on here. And I believe the movie is going to give us that payoff later.
Yeah. So, I would definitely go check this film out.
Yes, please go see it.
Yeah.
Are they I don't know if this is IMAX, but I mean, would they be shooting this in Dolby Vision or something?
I'm assuming it's probably going to be in Dolby. I'm assuming.
Yeah, but please, in the best way possible, go see this movie.
I mean, fuck, dude. Beyond that, like I said, the production design was dope as hell. Like it really made you feel like you're in the 1950s.
Yep. And then by the time you watch it, by the time you get to the end of it, you're gonna want a suit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the power. Like Kingsman was like, yo, I want a suit, but this movie, seeing the process and everything, it's like I really do want a suit. Like now, I'm not joking. So, but yeah, that's it. Just quick little review, and that's it. Go see it. Definitely check it out. Watch it. You'll love it. And peace out, guys.
Peace out.